Many thanks for joining us this morning. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Steve Kent. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Purdicom, and I'm joined with our Director of Technical, Alex Claro, who will be doing most of the webinar. I'm just going to do the introductions and the close at the end. So hopefully you'll take a lot from this session and be able to see something. So. Just want to start by saying a massive thank you. Thank you to all of our customers over the past 15 to 16 months. It's been some really challenging times, and we really appreciate everything that you've done, all the business that you've given us. Thank you to our manufacturers that have been so supportive during this time. We really appreciate everything that they're doing, and obviously the staff here at Purdicom have been absolutely fantastic. So we do thank you, our customers, for joining us during this period of time, and we appreciate your flexibility over the next couple of months because we're kind of still in this situation. So let me just talk to you. Some of you may not have joined the previous sessions, but we've had a three-part Wi-Fi 6 series going on. So the first session was all about Wi-Fi 6, what it is, what it brings to our customers and the advantages, and we'll go through some of those slides today, but on the follow-up you'll get a copy of those other two webinars as well. We also did a introduction into Cambium's Wi-Fi 6 offering. Obviously this is a Ruckus Wi-Fi 6 offering, but Cambium also have a portfolio which is pretty aggressively priced, and you're welcome to obviously see those slides for those that didn't attend those webinars, so they will be out with you. This session is also going to be recorded, so if you didn't see the notice when you first joined, then this session's recorded. So same again on the follow-ups, you'll also get a copy of this slide, so our marketing team will send that out. As far as this webinar goes, what we're going to talk about, so I'm going to talk about the Purdicom introductions. Same again, we've got a few new customers on the webinar. I can see some names that I don't recognize, so it'd be good for you guys to understand who Purdicom are, who we sell to, and why to utilize Purdicom. Alex will then cover the next few areas, so an overview of Wi-Fi connectivity and the reasons and the benefits for Wi-Fi 6 and the reasons to upgrade. Why Ruckus, a great story we've got to say and tell you guys about why Ruckus in terms of Wi-Fi 6 and the technologies that brings. We'll cover the Ruckus Wi-Fi portfolio, so there's a couple of new access points that are coming out shortly, so we will talk to you about that. We've got some deployment suggestions and some case studies that we'll talk through, and some previous scenarios that we've done in terms of Wi-Fi 6 deployments with our customers. And also the benefits of having the Wi-Fi 6 access points and the multi-gigabit switches. And at the end, I'll talk about some of the promotions and how to become a partner if you're not already a partner, and hopefully we'll do Q&A as well. During the slides, please feel free to ask any questions. So and we'll answer them at the end. Hopefully we'll cover them, but we'll obviously go back and I'll answer them at the end. So feel free to ask questions and type away throughout the session. Okay. So Purdicom. So for those of you that don't know us or are new to working with Purdicom, Purdicom are a privately owned wireless networking and security distributor. We're relatively small in the grand scheme of IT distribution, but I think that's a real advantage. Certainly when it comes to us being nimble and flexible and supportive with our customers. And I'll talk to you about some of our value add that we offer in a slide or two. But Purdicom, we employ just shy of 60 people now, so we've actually got 58 people, but we are growing every year. We grow at really quick ratios, even though last year wasn't our most successful. And actually it was relatively flat year on year. We did see some growth, and I think it's partly because of the Wi-Fi 6 surge of technology coming through, the surge of more devices needed at end users. Wi-Fi is a real dominant part of our business. and branching out with some of our security offerings, it's growing our business quite dramatically. We win multiple awards, so we were fortunate to win an award recently for CRN Sales and Marketing Award for the Over and Above award, and that was to congratulate our warehouse. We recently moved warehouse during the middle of the pandemic to a much bigger warehouse to hold much more stock, and they were recognised for working solidly throughout that period of time, having to go to the warehouse while most of us were working from home. So they've done a great job during that period of time. We're not new to distribution. We've been around since 2005, so we've been doing it for a long period of time. We have gold investors in people, which I think is a great recognition for how we look after our staff and how we put our customers first. And we're part of an ISO certified recognition to help certain customers when we need to offer certain criteria for certain tenders and responses that we might have. So our vendors that we offer. So today we're talking about Ruckus. They recently were acquired by CommScope a couple of years ago. So it's CommScope Ruckus. They're now called. So we'll talk to you about those. Cambium Networks. They offer a range of solutions from point to point to multi-point. Some Wi-Fi products and now some switching in their portfolio. Ciclu, we are a Ciclu distributor as well. We're their largest in EMEA, so they offer a range of point to point and point to multi-point. Certa UPS offer a great value for money UPS. So for those that are already supplying UPSs and would love to see a competitive alternative, please contact your account manager. We'd love to offer you a competitive quote. Their stock is held locally in the UK, so they're not having too many delays with shipment, but their product is just as good as the other manufacturers, the leading manufacturers in the market, just considerably cheaper. So we'd love to quote you on any UPS or power backup solutions you might have. WatchGuard is a firewall, and they offer Panda security within their portfolio now, so endpoint protection. Same again, we'd love to work with you and your customers on any firewall opportunities you might have. It's one of our fastest growing areas in our business, and it really complements our wireless offering. So it's a great solution, channel-only model. They're really engaging with our partners. They would love to speak to you if you do have any firewall security opportunities. IDE is the newest manufacturer that we've recently launched. So they are a password and authentication manufacturer. So they're their first distributor in the UK. More will come out from this manufacturer shortly, but we see that being a great offering for us. Nomadics, so they offer a gateway platform casting solution, as well as a phone system, primarily into hospitality, but there are a few other verticals, student accommodation, multi-dwelling units, etc., where their product really does fit. Incapto is a easy to use onboarding platform that makes it easy for end users to authenticate onto a Wi-Fi network. Works with every manufacturer possible. So we would, same again, love to work with any that need to authenticate easily onto a network. Ascom is a handset manufacturer for care and hospitality. So they do some really nice handsets and alarm systems for warehousing if you're working remotely and an isolated user. So same again, contact us for anything like that. Ubiquity is another Wi-Fi manufacturer that we work with. Huge portfolio of products in their offering. I'm sure you're aware of them. RF Elements is another new manufacturer we recently launched with. So it's a antenna manufacturer that connects to the Cambium range. So same again, we would love to work with you if you have certain deployments that require different types of antennas or requirements there. So we'd love to work with you. And the final piece to our offering is Chromecast. Primarily, we're doing it into the hospitality space, where people are casting to in-room TVs rather than having subscription-based platforms anymore. So that's kind of how the portfolio works. all the portfolios, they work with each other. So just because you might be a Ruckus partner today doesn't mean that you can't add WatchGuard easily into your offering, or vice versa. They're complementary to the range. We don't feel here at Purdicom that anyone really does conflict with anyone too much. And I believe the final slide from me before I hand you over to Alex, so is all around our value add. This is what makes us a little bit different, I believe, and what our team believe in terms of our differentiator to the competitor. And we can do as much or as little of any of these elements as each of you would like. If there's things outside of here that you need as a partner and you think would help you win business, please don't hesitate to get in contact with your account manager. And 9 times out of 10, we can be creative with you and try and make sure that you win the business, because it's all about, if we can help you win the opportunities, we will win together. And the more that we can do together, the more we are successful. But some of the things that we're doing a lot of training and technical support. So Alex, who runs who you'll hear from in a second, he manages our technical pre-sales and post-sales team. So we're doing a lot of free of charge heat mapping, link planning. We do on-site work, which is chargeable. We do vendor accredited training, although we're not doing as much of it at the moment, but that will come back soon. We're trying to get it online so that people can take it in their own time rather than coming down to our offices. But we can't wait for people to start coming back to our offices. It can't come soon enough, but we would love to start doing that again. Our logistics, same again, I touched on our warehouse staff doing an incredible job, but same again, we can be creative when it comes to delivering next day. We can package it in certain requirements. We can label certain things. So there's different things that we can do when we need to do logistics and be creative there. So we can do drop shipping. We believe we're quite flexible when it comes to finance. So we offer obviously good credit facilities, which I think is a given to do as a distributor, but we can do other things like extended terms. If you've got a particular customer that is asking you for extended terms, don't be afraid to also ask your account manager here, and we'll see what we can do. We have a Ruckus finance option to move away from your traditional CapEx purchase and look at a OpEx purchase. Same again, that's available for all customers. Even if your deal isn't 100% Ruckus would look to finance all products if you had a Ruckus product in there. So that is available to review. Same again, we've got other finance facilities that we can review if that's an option or a sticking point with your customers. Obviously, I manage the sales team, or I've got a sales manager that does, but I think we've got a great sales team at the moment. The team do a fantastic job, and they really understand the products. I think that's a real differentiator to our competition and some of the other distributors that we come up against. Our sales team they care about your business. They want to help you win the opportunities. And I think they're pretty technical. They understand what they're selling. They try and help you in terms of understanding your opportunity and try and expand on that to help your revenue grow with each opportunity. And then last but not least is our marketing team, who obviously put together presentations like this. They help with our customers and when it comes to MDF, so marketing development funds. You're more than welcome as a partner to submit marketing funds. So if you've got a particular activity or an event that you might have coming up that you want the manufacturers to co-fund, then contact, same again, your account manager, or contact our marketing team directly, and they would help you try and get you those funds to help increase your business. They have some great user guides that they create. Hopefully you see the emails that come out, and obviously you see the links to webinars like these. Otherwise you wouldn't have been able to join this. But they're doing a lot of proactive work in there. Same again, if there's other things that you would like, if there's case studies you would like written to help expand your business, contact the account managers or contact the marketing team, and they would love to help you with writing case studies and working with you. And I think that's all my slides, I believe. So I'll pass you over to Alex, who will be able to talk to you about Wi Fi 6 and Ruckus Wi Fi 6. Thanks, Alex.
So what we're going to do is go over the Wi-Fi connectivity overview. We're going to do a little bit of a history on the background of Wi-Fi connectivity, and then we're going to lead on into Wi-Fi 6 and how Ruckus can actually help you grow and develop that new standard, and also the other features that Ruckus can offer with that standard in terms of switching, multi-gig, and the new technologies that are all around encompassing Wi-Fi in general. So an overview of Wi-Fi connectivity. It all started back in 1997, where we had, a whopping 2 megabits per second in the first generation on the first 802.11 standard. We then increased it in 1999 to 0.11b, where we had 11 megabits. Then we increased to 54 megabits, then on to 600 in 802.11n. And then we had what we used to use as Wi-Fi 5 or 802.11ac. So for a period of time, the fastest speeds are all related to 5 gigahertz, which is great. But what about 2.4? There's a load of features and benefits which can be applied to the 2.4 spectrum, which can provide a more efficient Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6 isn't just about speeds and feeds. It's about efficiently getting the speed out of the system and making the system more efficient in total to actually deliver a faster, more reliable connection, which, as you can see in Wi-Fi 6, we're now at multi-gigabit speeds, and some of the access points actually have 2.5 gigabit or even 5 gigabit connections on them. Some of the outdoor access points actually have fiber connections where you can plug in a 10 gig capable optic and have a fiber connection directly into your switch. So as an introduction, we're demanding faster and faster speeds. We're wanting to get our content quicker and easier and faster. More and more video on demand services, for example, they're pushing out higher and higher rated resolution content. We've then got most of our services, Office 365, SharePoint, OneDrive, all hosted in the cloud as well, all demanding more and more connectivity. We've then got Wi-Fi 6. It is the newest, latest standard. It's also known as 802.11ax, and it's about faster and higher efficiency. So we operate in the 2.5 and 5 gigahertz frequency band. We can achieve up to 10 gigabits per second. It's 4 times faster than previous generation Wi-Fi, and that is comparing it to Wi-Fi 5, its predecessor. And it's highly power efficient as well. So gone are the days where your mobile device may drain its battery very quickly because it's on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6 has some technologies built in to actually optimize the power efficiency of your device. So when we compare this to Wi-Fi 5, we can see that it's got more speed. So the average household has 5 devices, and the average speed was 3 gigabits per second on the actual devices themselves. In 2019, it then was averaged about 9 devices with theoretical high speed of 10 gigabits per second. But as we go on and we move into the new generation where everyone has a mobile device, TVs, mobile phones, desk phones, printers, everything is going down Wi-Fi to eliminate the need for a cable. More and more devices are going to rely on that Wi-Fi connectivity, and they're all going to demand their own bandwidth, their own speeds, and we need to be more efficient in how we do that. So in a really simplistic overview, what Wi-Fi 6 is doing is building on what 802.11ac or Wi-Fi 5 had initially. So we're adding efficiency, we're adding flexibility, and we're adding scalability, and also allows the new existing networks to increase their speed and capacity at the same time. So it's backwards compatible with other standards. We get the benefit of the speed, but we also get benefit of latency. Now, latency is the worst thing you can have on a network because it just feels slow, even though it may not be in terms of actual raw bandwidth. So Wi-Fi 6 can actually result in up to 75% less latency, and it achieves this by handling large amounts of network traffic more efficiently. We get the speed, as mentioned before, because we're now at nearly 10 gigabits connectivity, and we've got efficient networking by able to offload the data faster. So because the access point can process more and it's got a bigger raw pipe in terms of the Ethernet port on the back of the access point for some of those models, you can offload the data onto the network quicker, meaning the AP can spend more time transmitting data and less time trying to process it. So as we overview the Wi-Fi connectivity as a whole, it's key to continued social and economic growth, and organizations depend on Wi-Fi every day. More and more businesses are actually in the redevelopment stakes when they're redeveloping a building or shared workspaces. they're not putting in Wi-Fi, they're not putting in Ethernet ports anymore. They're pushing more and more Wi-Fi devices and having more and more access points. So they don't have to run infrastructure cabling to every desk, because running infrastructure cabling is quite expensive, especially when most of the workforce nowadays probably has a laptop. And the laptop is wireless, so why would you feed a cable into it if you've got a good, reliable Wi-Fi system? So the value of Wi-Fi in the technology industry, obviously in 2021, it was at 3.3 trillion. By 2025, it's estimated that globally it will be at 4.9 trillion. And in the UK, you can see it's currently at 99 billion, and in 2025, it's due to be at 109 billion. So 89% of homes have internet connectivity and have Wi-Fi capability as well, which is more than 65% of those connecting time for smartphone users takes place on Wi-Fi rather than relying on cellular networks. So during lockdowns, as a result, the pandemic actually made the number go as high as 74% of devices, which were mobile devices, iPhones, Android, etc., all being connected at once. Wi-Fi also lends itself to IoT, Internet of Things. More and more smart devices are coming around. Fridges, for example, washing machines, they're all now starting to use Wi-Fi to tell you, A, if the fridge is getting low on food, if the washing machine's finished, so you can go put it in the tumble dryer, for example, or if the tumble dryer is now finished. There's lots of different IoT or Internet of Things technologies coming out, which are relying on Wi-Fi. One of them from the gaming community is the adoption of augmented reality and virtual reality, whereby you're wearing a headset, you're interacting with devices in an augmented state. So this is a quick slide deck as well, which is just going to go over the economic value and just the raw numbers of devices that are being shipped. So we're already at 338 million Wi-Fi 6E device shipments, and that's the latest standard that's only just been released. Globally, we're at 4.2 billion shipments of Wi-Fi devices, with over 500 million global access points as well. So what are the reasons to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6? Well, you get all of these features in front of you. So you get power efficiencies, which is known as target wait time, which is great for device battery life. Instead of the device turning itself on when it thinks it needs to turn the radio back on, the access point is actually going to say, at this certain time, I need you to turn your radio back on, please, so I can send you some data. We've then got efficiencies with OFDMA and how we're actually handling each channel with having subcarriers. We've got Bss Coloring, which is great for network capacity. We've got multi-user Mimo, again, which is about offloading the data as quick as possible. We've got increased 1024 QAM for increased throughput, as well as long OFDM symbol, which is great for the outdoor space. So looking at this a little bit more in depth, OFDMA, if you imagine a motorway, you've got 3 lanes of traffic, but you can only have 1 car in each lane. It's not very efficient. So what we've got with OFDMA is the ability to have multiple cars in each lane of traffic. So you can have 3 cars in lane 1, 4 cars in lane 2, 5 cars in lane 3, for example, which means we can actually send more data at once because we can process more data in a single channel instead of waiting for each individual device to talk to us. Then we come on to multi-user Mimo. So this is now available on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz bands, and it allows simultaneous connections from multiple devices on the upload of data and the download, which means we can send a lot more data to the access point all at once as a collective from every device. Instead of, again, waiting for each device to talk to us individually, we can upload all the data at once, which then the access point can offload to the network and switching network all at once as well. We then come on to power efficiencies. So you can get up to 3 times better battery life. So target wait time enables the access point to actually communicate with a device and say, I need you to turn on at this exact moment in time to wake the radio up and then allow the device to go back to sleep, which is beneficial, especially in warehousing environments where the Wi-Fi radio actually consumes a huge amount of battery life turning it on and off. So if we can target the device to only turn on at certain times, we'll actually improve the battery life as well, which is never a bad thing. We then come on to 1024 QAM. So this is actually a 25% data rate increase in Wi-Fi 6 APs, which simply allows you to send more data in a faster time. We then come on to long OFDM symbol. So it's improved the quality of long distance communication by eliminating inter-symbol interference and improving the signal to noise ratio. So we can get the higher data rates to speak at a higher QAM modulation rate as well. Then finally, Bss Coloring. It allows Wi-Fi 6 stations to quickly identify whether the channel is occupied by a device of the same BSSS, effectively SSID, and it identifies it by color, which is a much simpler way of the access point understanding what it's doing and understanding the devices around it, which then means that you can actually, means that the devices can manage the channels in a much more efficient manner. So we've gone over the technical reasons to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6. Here's a quick summary. We can exchange data rate simultaneously in busy and crowded places efficiently and effortlessly. It can achieve up to 4 times faster speeds. You can connect multiple groups and send and receive information simultaneously using multi-user Mimo. It now brings security in terms of WPA3, which provides the most recent security updates, as well as also enforcing protected management frames from the access points to make sure data is encrypted at all times. We've then also got improved power efficiencies with target wait time. So that is the main reasons to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6. So why Ruckus then? Well, we all know that Ruckus has great radio technologies. We've still got BeamFlex Plus, which means we can, adapt the signal to the device and make sure that we're sending the information to the device based on its orientation. And we can improve the signal to noise ratio. We still have channel fly to optimize the bandwidth of each channel and make sure that we're on the best channel for performance. We have per packet adapted transmit power. So we can, again, adapt the signal and adapt the amount of power we're sending to each individual client to improve efficiencies in terms of interference. And also by improving the interference and mitigating that, we can then send a stronger signal, which means the device can talk at a higher modulation rate, which means it can basically send more data at a faster speed. In recent versions of the portfolio, it was now added with adaptive Wi-Fi cell sizing. What this actually means is that the access points are going to listen to their environment. They're going to learn their environment like they did before, but they're now actually going to reduce their radio's transmit power based on that environment to make sure that it's not overwhelming a neighboring Ruckus access point. So the dynamic of the RF is greater in terms of efficiency, but also making sure and being more courteous to make sure it's not actually going to cause self-interference to a neighboring device. We then have transient client management. So this prevents clients from disrupting the network. Alongside that, we have airtime decongestion. So this is a great new feature by Ruckus. It effectively optimizes the management traffic and makes sure that the AP is spending more time transmitting data for clients than transmitting management frames by suppressing probe response. That frees up the airtime. The more your airtime can be freed up, again, the more time devices have to send traffic and send data. So you improve the efficiency of the network as well. And finally, we can, as always, steer clients to the best frequency band for the best quality of connection, meaning we can encourage devices to use either 2.4 or 5 gigahertz based on the environment they're in and ensure they're receiving the best possible data rate we can. So what is the Ruckus Wi-Fi 6 portfolio? Well, we've got an access point for indoor or outdoor. We can go as high as 8x8x8 on our R850 access point. We've of course got ICX switches, formerly Brocade, which allows us to, provide the data to the access point in the first place. And we've got a switch for every vertical. We then have systems management and control. We've got Ruckus Smart Zone. We've got Ruckus Cloud. We've also got Unleashed. And then we've got our software services, whether you're looking to securely onboard devices, location analytics, or maybe just deep dive troubleshooting analytics as well. We have a software solution and a controller solution to match any vertical. So what are our access points? Well, we're going to start with the outdoor series first. Here we have a T350, which is a brand new mid-density access point. This is actually to replace what used to be the T310. So it is the new Wi-Fi 6 equivalent. We have our T610 already, which is our mid-density access point. That is a Wi-Fi 5 Wave 2 access point. And in a high density, we've actually got our T710, and it's not listed on this one, but we've also got a T750 here you go, a T750 access point as well, which is the Wi-Fi 6 equivalent. So you can see that at any point in time, Ruckus have a Wi-Fi 5 equivalent AP in terms of Wi-Fi 6. Moving to the indoor space, we've got the R320. And I think next year, or maybe the late end of this year, Ruckus are due to release a R350 access point to supersede the R320. In our mid-density level, we have our R510, which has now been superseded by the R550. And again, the R610 has now been superseded by the R550. And here you can see on our high density areas, the R7 family of R7, 10, 20, and 30 have now been superseded by the R750. Now, the benefit here is that the R650, R750 both support 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, which means that you can offload the data from the access point to the switching network much quicker than before. And that is also the same for the T750. Now, the R850 goes one step further. It introduces Wi-Fi 6E, which is 6 gigahertz networking. So everyone's probably familiar with 2.4, 5 gigahertz, but now Ofcom, the UK regulator, has actually allowed us to use 6 gigahertz frequencies. And the R850 is the first access point to do that. It's got 8 radios, and it also supports 5 gigabit Ethernet networking as well, again, to offload the data as quick as possible. In our specialty sector, we've got our usual suspects. So in our low density, we've got our H320 and C10. In our mid density, we've got our H510, E510 and M510, but we also have the H550, which for those of you that know the H510, it's the same access point, but now with Wi-Fi 6. So in your in-room deployments, you now have the ability to push H510 and Wi-Fi 6 to the hotel rooms. And of course, as I said, the R350 is coming soon. So Ruckus likes to pride themselves on being the best. Now, there was a recent Wi-Fi stress report, which we'll send you a video to again, and we'll also publish the white paper that was released, where effectively Ruckus, I paid a third party to do this, the third party tested Ruckus access points, Meraki access points, and a few others, and put them all in the same room to see at what point the access points would struggle and how many devices can they actually cope with at once. And here you can see doing a video call to clients, the R610 from Ruckus, which by the way is actually the last generation access point, managed to sustain 60 devices on both bands before and after load with no issues at all. It was actually the only one that managed to sustain the load at all times. Where, as you can see, the other vendors struggled. They had a high initial connection, but as soon as you put any load on them, they dropped off quite quickly. So we have converged access points as well in terms of our Wi-Fi. All of our Wi-Fi 6 access points actually support Zigbee and LoRaWAN and Bluetooth Low Energy. And the access points are universal. You can start off with Unleashed, then move it to Smart Zone, then maybe move it to Ruckus Cloud. At any one point in time, the access point isn't locked to a certain platform. It can be used on any controller platform you wish. So what does that Wi-Fi stress report actually summarize? On the 5 most popular enterprise-grade cloud solutions, using 4x4 radios from Wi-Fi 6 APs from Aruba, Extreme, Juniper, Mist, Cisco, Meraki, and CommScope Ruckus, the test was designed to gauge these APs' overall performance in a mixed traffic environment, basically simulating real-world events, doing everything from large and small file transfers, high-definition video streaming, and voice-over IP calls. It then measured the overall network throughput, multimedia performance, as well as quality of service. The Ruckus AP R750 significantly outperformed all other access points in every single test. It was the only one which maintained a good score throughout. So it's very well all the 8 vendors saying we can support this many devices. In the real world, some of them may not be able to, and this is a good independent stress test to prove why Ruckus is still the king when it comes to RF and throughput. So you've got your access points. I now need to power them. So what switch would I go for? Well, we've got a switch for every vertical, whether we're starting with the 7850 at the core where you've got 100 gig networking, moving down to the 7750 where you've got 40 gig networking. And then we come down to our 7650, which is a great hybrid switch where you can have 10 gig copper and 10 gig and 1 gig copper, sorry, as well as 10 gig fiber and 1 gig fiber mixed on the same switch. As well as the 7550, which is where we support multi-gig, and we can actually support 100 gig networking again on our 2 uplink ports, as well as having a switch with 24 ports at full 10 gig fiber, which we've actually recently deployed in a Marina deployment. As well as our 7450 for our aggregation layer, where you've got 48 ports of 1 gig fiber, or maybe you just need to have a few 40 gig interconnects. Again, 7450 is a great switch. Coming all the way down to our 7150 series, where we can actually do multi-gig again for those access points, such as the R650 and R750. The 7150 series also, on some models, has the ability to have redundant power supply and fans. So even at our most entry-level switches, we have redundancy in the fans and power supplies built in, as well as the ability to stack. All of our switches can be stacked. We don't believe in using proprietary stacking cables. We can just use a Stimble DAC or a fiber optic cable, and we can stack. Now, the biggest thing is you've got your switches, you've got your access points, but I've got 2 systems to manage. Not so. Rutgers Cloud and the Smart Zone family allow you to manage all of the switches from a single pane of glass. And I don't mean managed by the fact that you can see the switches offline or online, or the ports are doing something. You can actually fully configure the switch. So you can send port configuration, turn the Pue on and off, deploy VLANs, rename the switch, give it static IP addressing. Hell, you can even treat it like a true router and actually send static routes to the switch and start managing the entire routing engine from Ruckus Cloud and Smart Zone. Again, all from a single pane of glass. I see there's some questions popping up. We'll come to those at the very end. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. The other benefit of the Smart Zone is that you can also upgrade the firmware on all the switches, and the same with Ruckus Cloud. So just yesterday, in fact, there was a new version of firmware. I pushed out to all of our switches remotely from Smart Zone and scheduled it for midnight, so that I knew by the morning all the switches would be on the latest firmware ready to go. And that's the same for any configuration items as well. You can actually push out configuration and schedule it to take place at a certain time, which is a nice feature set to have. So what does the 7000 series of switches feature? So I've already mentioned some, such as stacking advantages. We don't use proprietary stacking. All we require is you to have a minimum of 10 gig connectivity on the switches using the SFP ports. And we can stack up to 12 switches in a stack. We have simplified operations because we can unify that with a virtual Smart Zone or Ruckus Cloud and manage it from a central location. We then have high Pue density because some of our switches, the ZP models specifically, have the ability to actually use up to 90 watts of Pue power and deliver that on all ports. So some of our models will actually be able to deliver up to 2000 watts of Pue power. So there should be a situation where you run out of Pue, unlike some other lower end switches whereby they've got a very finite power budget and you have to get very creative with how you deploy the Pue. And of course, we've got flexible deployment options, whether it be standalone, stacked, using Campus Fabric, Cloud, or Smart Zone. The other benefit of the switching family is that it's a common CLI. If you've ever used HP Aruba, you're going to be able to pick up the switching family very quickly because it uses similar CLI format. And we've mentioned the Smart Zone. Well, we can actually deploy up to 30,000 access points or 6,000 switches with multi-tenancy. And again, a single pane of glass with GUI-based metrics. You don't have to learn the CLI if you're not familiar with it or not comfortable with it. You've got a nice web interface to actually manage the entire switching network. And of course, for most of our products, we have a lifetime warranty. There's only actually one product that doesn't, and that's the baby 8-port compact switch. But all of the other Ruckus switches and access points include a lifetime warranty, which includes the power supplies and fans. So what are the advantages of the Smart Zone? Well, you can manage complex LAN and WLAN network elements. You get a great security and policy because you can ensure that network and data and device security are maintained. You can segregate your networks, you can do dynamic VLANs, you can do dynamic pre-shared keys. You get full transparency of troubleshooting, so you can actually pinpoint and work out where the device has had an issue, whether it's failing at DHCP, which might be a fault in your switching layer or your DHCP server, or even all the way up to actually the devices aren't connecting, they're failing at the EPOL layer, which is just connecting to the access point in the beginning, as well as being able to monitor your RF, your channel allocation, your throughput as well. We then come on to network intelligence. So this covers all the built-in analytics and Wi-Fi reporting tools, and allows you to gain an insight into that. If you want to take it one step further, you can actually use Ruckus Analytics, which allows you to go back at least a year's worth of data retention and monitor the entire network and say, we made a change here when the first network went in. It's now a year later. How has the network evolved? What are our trends? Are we now getting more people using the wireless? If so, what's the data collection like? Are we using more and more data? Are we needing to provide more data? Based on that, do we now need to upgrade our internet bandwidth? Do we actually need to upgrade our switching? So it gives you a great insight using Ruckus Analytics to actually go that one step further and proactively manage your network as well. We then have connectivity. So we've got BeamFlex Plus, Channelfly, Smart Mesh, and all the other benefits that Wi-Fi 6 brings as well. All features associated with ensuring a great end user experience and making efficient use of the spectrum. And then our architecture on the Smart Zone. It can be a virtual or physical deployment. And it's all about offering the right controller to suit your customers' needs, whether you're needing to tunnel data in, whether they've got their own data center, or whether they just want to have a physical bit of tin on site. We've got a solution to meet all your needs with the Smart Zone. And for those who say, actually, I don't want to host anything on site at all, we have Rutgers Cloud. So Rutgers Cloud is very similar to Smart Zone with a different UI in front of it, and it's hosted by Rutgers themselves. And the nice part of this is that part of your subscription means that every access point has support on it as well. And it's available in 1, 3, or 5 years. Again, it has the same features as Smart Zone, but the benefit is that you pop in the serial number of the access point, and the access point will automatically connect to the Rutgers Cloud platform. It'll also, like Smart Zone, do all of its firmware and its configuration for you. Better yet, as we can see on the far right-hand side here, you've got an app called Swipe, which means you can actually scan the serial number of an access point, take a picture of where it is, because it might be in a hard-to-reach location, and it'll automatically deploy that to Rutgers Cloud just based on you scanning the serial number. Meaning you can actually have a box of APs go out to site, 100, 300, ask the cabling team to install them, and say to the cabling team, as you deploy them, could you just scan the serial number or the MAC address for me and just write the location where you popped it into? Meaning that the access point is going to be named for you, go into the right location and have the right configuration. Meaning you as the IT team can actually save some time as well, and obviously save your end customers time. But Rutgers Cloud also brings better user experience, consistently great Wi-Fi for customers regardless of the environment. You've got time savings because you can easily deploy, monitor, manage your WLAN and your switches from anywhere. Cost reduction, you can significantly reduce CapEx and OpEx without sacrificing performance. And engagement and insight, you can promote your brand while learning about your customers. There's a new MSP model as well from Ruckus, meaning you can actually manage your customers' cloud solutions as long as you're an MSP partner with Ruckus. And for those who are interested, you can actually trial this for free, and there's a link online here that you can see. You will be given the slide deck afterwards to actually have the clickable link, which allows you to try Ruckus Cloud for 90 days, I believe, with a single access point, and give it a go. So our access point deployment suggestions. So we've got our R550. This is perfect for classrooms, university halls, hallways, office spaces. We then have the R650, which is very similar to the R550, but it's got more antennas. It's designed for those areas where you're going to have a higher density of clients. And then we come on to the R750, which has, again, 4x4 antennas, but it's designed for more and more client connectivity, such as meeting rooms, VIP venue rooms, lobby or common spaces, libraries and cafeterias. And then finally, we have our R850 access point. This is designed for all verticals, but it's where you're going to have hundreds of clients trying to connect to an access point at once. This will be the access point that you need. Moving on to our outdoor access points, we have our T350, which is perfect for outdoor resort areas, followed by our T750. Maybe you've got a situation where actually you need to run fiber or single mode fiber to the access point. The T750 has you covered. It also has the ability to have a PoE out, so you can actually power a CCTV camera off the back of the access point as well. So It can also be powered by AC feed. So no matter where you have it, it can be the perfect AP for long distances or in hard to reach locations where maybe running an Ethernet cable isn't going to be justifiable. And then finally, we come on to our H550, which is perfect for university halls or even small offices. As I talk to you now, I'm actually using a H550 access point to present this webinar. The key point about this slide is that no matter the vertical or situation, CommScope Ruckus has you covered for every deployment scenario. And the great thing is, all the access points will work with one another no matter the situation. You may have a T750 paired with an R750 or R650. They'll work side by side simultaneously, ensuring that roaming, connectivity, and everything is managed from a central pane of glass. So now we come on to some case studies. So the first Wi-Fi 6 case study is actually the one city, the one network. So in Germany, they faced numerous challenges. So the city wanted citywide high-performance Wi-Fi, providing infrastructure services, part of Free Wolfsburg, which is a smart city project in Wolfsburg, funnily enough, as well as taking over the existing wireless Wolfsburg networking platform and developing that into a secure and scalable managed solution, as well as setting up digital services for both private and commercial clients. So here we had a combination of Ruckus R320s, R650 indoor access points, as well as T310 and T650 outdoor access points. They had 2 virtual smart zone controllers with a redundant data plane to tunnel the traffic back. So what was the reason for doing this? Those are the challenges. The reasons are they wanted to include fixed line data connections, landline telephones, internet services, managed solutions for mobile offices and shared offices, communications, broadband TV. Every year they're laying several kilometers of fiber optic into the city to create a future-ready network. And because some of the Ruckus access points have the ability to actually use fiber optic directly into the access points, it was the perfect fit. So the benefits of this are you've got a highly scalable solution, which enables ongoing WLAN networking expansion by the provider. It's future ready for telecom communications and leverages the combination of 5G networking as well as Wi-Fi 6 technologies, because you can have the two side by side working in parallel. You have powerful hardware that ensures fail-safe performance for all network infrastructure. And the best bit is it's low maintenance. You reduce your operating cost, single pane of glass, all access points working in harmony together. And the best bit is that you can have secure networking. By using the Ruckus data plane, you can tunnel all the traffic back to the data center and ensure that the traffic is treated and allocated each VLAN or networking resource the way it was intended to, without worrying about the edge connectivity. And of course, the main benefit, you've now got widely available high-speed open Wi-Fi networking across the entire city. So the second case study is a little bit different. It's actually education focused, but they've still got similar challenges. They had poor performance in the wireless. They had dropped connections. They had multiple vendors, so devices weren't communicating with one another. They weren't able to roam correctly. There was no scalability, a lack of funding, and minimal network security. So what was the Ruckus solution? Well, we combined Wi-Fi 6 indoor and outdoor access points along with our multi-gigabit ICX switches. We then used CloudPath to enroll devices to the network, ensuring they were secured by ETLS and certificate-based authentication. And then we leveraged Ruckus Cloud Network Management to make sure it was all managed by the cloud without having any physical controllers on site. So you may say, okay, that's great, but how many students? Could have been quite small. Well, it was 4,000 students over 8 communities with 3 elementary schools, 1 middle school and 1 high school. So it was no small network. It was quite a high strength network with a lot of devices expected to connect to it at any one point. If you consider there's 4,000 students, most people have 3 or 4 wireless devices on them. Times that by 3, you get the idea of how many devices are actually communicating with that network on a daily basis. And the benefits are, again, multi-gigabit support, Wi-Fi 6, easy and secure enrollment for bring your own device with a one-to-one initiative, all-in-one cloud management for switches and access points. And better yet, they actually saved some money because they needed fewer access points but had better coverage and better redundancy as a result of using the Ruckus architecture. So what are the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 when you combine it with our multi-gigabit switches? Well, you have the benefit of up to 40% faster speeds. You can immediately transfer data between devices with multi-gigabit switches because you can offload the data faster. Connect more and more devices with better total cost of ownership, and you can extend the network life as well. We then have wider channels, so we can have more bandwidth per channel. You can cut out legacy data connections or legacy devices which maybe aren't running as best as they could be. You can run traffic-intensive applications, and we've got services for enough bandwidth for heavy applications, as well as providing ultra-high speeds. We then have the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 multi-gigabit switches, which are Wi-Fi 6 access points delivering expected speeds? Well, all of our Wi-Fi access points, which are Wi-Fi 6, apart from the R550, support 2.5 gigabits or even 5 gigabits LAN connection. What if customers are only upgrading their access points and keeping standard gigabit switches? Not a problem. It'll still work, but you've only got 1 gigabit to play with, just like you had with Wi-Fi 5. However, again, it's not just about the data offloading, it's about the efficiency. So even if you have 1 gigabit connection to your access point today, with Wi-Fi 6, you're still going to get the benefit of the optimized network efficiency that it brings to the wireless space. And now I'm going to pass you back to Steve Kent to talk about promotions and partner benefits, and I'll leave you in his capable hands.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, hopefully you guys took a lot from that. I'll just talk about some of the questions before we move on to onto there. There was a few questions in the roadmap that came up, and I think it's probably relevant to answer some of them now. So we had a question that came in asking about if and when the M550 will be out. So that's M550. So to replace the M510, basically. At the moment, there's nothing on the Ruckus roadmap that I'm aware of in terms of dates for that. It seems that it's an obvious naming convention that if that product does get released, that would be coming out. But yeah, as soon as we're aware, then we'll obviously notify people around that. So we can do that. But yeah, at the moment, there's just the R350 that's just been announced, which will replace the R320 and the T series, so the outdoor access point, but nothing in the M series at the moment. So yeah, so we'll talk about some of the promotions and benefits, then we'll go through some more of the questions shortly. So promotion-wise, there's 3 promotions that are currently out on the Ruckus Wi-Fi 6 portfolio. So they all require deal registration. So if you're unsure how to do deal registration and protect your opportunity, then your account manager can assist you. But the idea is that if you've got an opportunity, you can register it, and then you can get relevant discounts. So Ruckus have had a hospitality pricing platform in place for a long period of time. So like I mentioned, deal reg is applicable. Hospitality is the end user, and then you'll be able to take advantage of discounts on the Wi-Fi 6 and wired products. They do have a scheme that's called Better Together. So if you buy the wireless and the wired products, you actually receive a slightly larger discount to enable you to cross-sell across the range. So that's good to know. And that's very similar in the education space. So again, deal reg applicable, register the opportunity in education. You'll get protected on that opportunity. And same again, they have the ability to offer discounts if you're buying wired and wireless solutions for Wi-Fi 6 and the other portfolio in there as well. But they're the two main promotions. The Cloud promo that just came out this quarter. So if I explain how this works a little bit. So very similar to a promotion that happened a few years ago, where you had to buy in multiples of 10. So if you buy 10 APs and 10, if you buy 10 APs, you can get discount, and then you only need to actually buy one cloud license to achieve that. So sometimes you might actually find yourself in a situation where the cloud offering could actually reduce your cost of sale, but you have to buy the APs in a minimum quantity of 10. The cloud licensing, it has to be activated within 60 days of purchase, but the cloud licensing doesn't need to mirror the amount of APs that you're buying, which I think is an important message to say. Like I said, deal reg is required, so just register the opportunity, and you don't need to be specific with the promotion that you want to do. You can actually just ask your account manager here at Purdicom, and we would recommend a few different options that would be the best option for you to quote your customer. So yeah, they're the 3 promotions applicable to Wi-Fi 6. Ruckus, they also have an NFR program. So same again, for those that aren't familiar with it, you can actually purchase up to 2 products per quarter. So 2 of the same SKU per quarter, and receive 77% off as a NFR. The idea is that you use them for your own use. So the Wi-Fi 6 products are in that offering. So again, you have to register it on the Ruckus portal. It's not dual registration, but there is a demo platform that you just log into. I've mentioned about dual registration. So Ruckus's dual registration protects you from other partners maybe trying to offer the same bill of materials that you might have done the hard work on. So make sure you're registering the opportunity as early as you possibly can. It then prevents any other partner from getting involved in the hard work that you might have done in terms of the survey and the design work before. And so the Ruckus will support you in protecting you on that if that comes up. There are rebates available. So if you are a elite partner, like it says below, if you're an elite partner, then you can get some kickback through marketing funds and certain rebates depending on your spend. So again, speak to your account managers regarding that. Their funded heads are available. So for any elite partners, Ruckus will co-fund a person to develop Ruckus business within your organization, if that's applicable. I've mentioned about discounts and promotions, but there's other discounts and promotions that are ongoing outside of Wi-Fi 6, but just talking about the Wi-Fi 6 relevant ones. Spoken about MDF. So again, speak to your account manager if you've got an activity that you want to get any of our manufacturers involved in, not just Ruckus, but any manufacturers that you want them to co-fund a activity, speak to them around that. Ruckus have a number of account managers that are happy to get involved and work with your opportunities. They've got engineers that are there to support you as well, so they can do site visits or they can do web demos. I said earlier on in the conversation, the more that we work together, generally, the more that we can win. So the more that Ruckus can be involved in your opportunities, I think together, the more that we can all win together. I've mentioned about the Purdicom sales team. They're there to help support your business, and obviously the technical team are there to help as well in terms of any design work or any survey work or config work that might be required, which leads us on to the value add and the professional services element that's in there as well. Use us as much or as little as you would like. We're here to support your business as much as we can and work together. And I think the final slide that I have is around questions. So once again, I appreciate you taking the time out today and listening to us talk about Ruckus Wi-Fi 6. I appreciate you taking the time and listening to the previous 2 webinars that we've also had. We will follow up with the slides after this and follow up with the other webinars. So should you want to obviously look at them, you can do. And what we'll do is we'll just go through the few Q&As that we've got that have come in. So Alex, are you still with us?
I'm still here. So
cool.
The first question is, are any of the switches PoE or Power over Ethernet BT capable? The answer is yes. So any of the Ruckus ZP models are BT capable. That also is BZ as well. So you get your higher PoE power and also the multi-gigabit capabilities. Our next question is, what is the Pue output on the T750, and can it be supported when mains powered, or is it just AF? So I'll split that into two parts. The Pue out on the T750 can actually provide up to 26 watts available of Pue out power, so it should support most devices. And it can support that when it's mains powered as well. So whether you've got a Pue injector or whether you're using the actual AC functionality, AC power on the access point, when it's powered by AC or the BT power or PoE, it'll actually use 57 watts of power on your switch. So as long as you've got a power injector, which Ruckus can supply, or a switch capable of powering the AP, you'll get full functionality. Does Ruckus have or will have an instance of Ruckus Cloud in the UK? Well, Ruckus Cloud, when you first sign up, has a option to be, hosting the EU. At the moment, I don't believe there is a UK data center planned, but that can change. But it is all hosting AWS. So actually, they typically host the data centers closest to the region that you're going to be using it from. Anyway. And then our next question is regarding, will Ruckus reintroduce blackout door access points, or do we have to wrap/coat them ourselves? At the moment, there are no plans for Ruckus to provide blackout door access points. So using the traditional method of wrapping them or using plasti dip or some type of coating is still the method to go with. Our next question is, are switches fully manageable with Smart Zone and Ruckus Cloud? Yes, they are. All of the Ruckus switches are fully manageable in Smart Zone, and all of the later switches, so the 7150s, 7550s, 78 and 7650, I believe, are all managed in Ruckus Cloud. And it's not just managed, it's full configuration in addition. And then the last question is, will my existing access points be compatible with Wi-Fi 6? So Wi-Fi 6 is a new hardware standard. However, it doesn't mean that Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 5 access points can't work in harmony together in terms of roaming and client connectivity. So they can be used side by side, but to get the true benefits of Wi-Fi 6, you do need a Wi-Fi 6 capable access point. And for the moment, that's all the questions. But if there's any more, we'll stay online for a bit longer and let you fire away.
Great, Alex. Thanks for answering those questions. As mentioned, we'll share all of this with you guys that have attended. So once again, we appreciate your time this morning. If there's anything we can be doing together, please continue to reach out to your account managers. Just like to say thank you again for all your business, all the hard work that you guys are doing. Stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you all again very soon at one of our events or in our offices or even in your offices. So thank you again. Take care. Thanks.
And Tim, looks like there's one last sneaky question. Point-to-point, Ruckus still provide the P300 access point for point-to-point communications?
Just on that as well, I don't think, Alex might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's not managed by any of the, I think it's an independent product. So you can't actually manage point-to-point by cloud or controller. It's a separate product.
So it's a separate product that can be managed by Unleashed Multi-Site Manager if you do wish to remotely host it. But that being said, come talk to Purdicom. We do have lots of options when it comes to the outdoor point-to-point space.
Cool. Thank you again, guys. Take care. And we will stop the recording now and stop the webinar. Thank you.